Well, thank you again for joining us, Taylor. We just finished your qualifying session here at CCMP. Can you just tell everyone who you are and what you do to start off?
Yeah, my name is Taylor Hagler. I drive the #1 Hyundai Elantra in with Bryan Herta Autosport for IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge, and we're here at TCR World Ranking.
So you just wrapped up quali. You got P6 in quali. How are you feeling about that? How's the session?
The session was okay. The car felt really good for like the first 3 laps on new tires. After that, it started to get a little loose. So we did have a moment going down turn 2 with a pretty big slide. So trying to figure out the tire situation is going to be on that, because now we have a little bit of a soft spot on one of the tires. So trying to get that all figured out. But it was my best lap. So
there you go.
P6 is fine.
Yeah, fantastic. We'll take it.
Yeah.
So you just came back from Europe. You're currently racing both in the U.S. You're also racing Europe, 2 different types of cars. What is that experience like? You know, switching between cars and time zones and all of that.
Yeah, I mean, so far it's been pretty crazy. Coming back from Spa, I had 3 days at home to here, and then I go here straight to Italy, and then back home I get 2 days. So like it's been a lot, and it's kind of I've kind of learned how to deal with the time zone thing. Like when I get home, I go to sleep at like 2, 3 in the morning. That way I wake up a little later, because before I was waking up at 4 a.m. and it was a miserable time. It was not happening. So going over is a little bit harder than coming home, but it's been a fun experience. I think running over there has helped a lot with this, and I've done a little bit better in the races and qualifying since I've started doing it, so enjoying it.
Yeah, why do you think that is? Is there like one big thing that you contribute to that?
I think it's really just like track time. Like that's the biggest thing, with someone that's a little bit more newer, younger, doesn't have as much experience. I never did karting or anything like that, so anything that's track time, like that is going to help tenfold. Plus like new tracks. Europe's a little bit more aggressive in terms of competitors and on track. So with that aggression level, plus the car is a lot more difficult to drive than the TCR. So being able to qualify that and then come over here, like it's a little bit easier, and I feel like I have a little bit better car control.
Yeah, speaking of, you just mentioned that you did not come from karting.
Yeah.
Can you share how you got into racing, how you ended up here, and what that whole experience has been like?
Yeah, so I actually started a lot later in life. I never did karting or anything like that. I showed horses for the first like 12 to 15 years of my life, something like that. But I always went to races with my dad when I was younger, so he bought my sister a Skip Barber Racing school certificate, and she's older than me, so I was like probably 13 when she got it, and she never used it. So a little bit later in life, when I was a senior in college, I was already done with horses, figured I might as well use it just for fun. So me and my dad went and did a 3-day, and then I went back and did a 2-day, and my dad has always been into racing, so he's like, yeah, let's go club racing. Yeah, okay, cool, little father-daughter hobby, it'll be fine. Met some people there that wanted to go pro in 2019, went pro with them with Honda, and then came to IMSA in 2020 with Honda, and then Hyundai picked me up from there, so I've been with them since 2021. Kind of went from hobby to career real quick.
Yeah, and even speaking of 2021, 2022, you had fantastic seasons.
Yes.
Are you expecting the same this year? Are you hoping for the same?
I mean, we're about halfway through the season, and it hasn't quite gone up to par. It hasn't quite been what we wanted, but it's kind of one of those things that comes with any sport. You have great seasons, you have great races, and you have bad seasons and bad races. Won the championship 2 years in a row. It was high expectation to win it again for a 3rd year, but the expectation was there, and we still have 6 more races, so you never know what can happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, switching gears, something that you are super passionate about, obviously, is women in motorsports. And as you mentioned earlier, track time is really hard to find, especially as a woman.
Yeah.
What kind of initiatives have you seen that you've really liked, or what kind of initiatives would you like to see to make sure women and young girls get more track time so they can become race car drivers?
Yeah, I've seen a lot more organizations popping up as of lately. Like we have WIMNA, there's over in Europe, there's so many females over there. I think they're kind of finally starting to trickle over here, with the Iron Dames doing a little bit more over here in the United States, and they're bringing up a lot of karting females as well. I've noticed on like their pages, they're picking their karting drivers to bring up the ranks, and we actually just talked to Rafa, who is a big sponsor of GT4 Europe, and he's starting to race, and he's bringing females along with him. So we've talked to him about doing some stuff in the States, and he's really big into getting women in motorsports as well. So we have a lot more organizations that are kind of popping up trying to bring them along, and I think there's a lot more people out there that want to see more women, especially in the States, kind of grow to what Europe is on a female standpoint.
Sure, absolutely. And even speaking on kind of the comparison with European ladders and American ladders, European ladders again is traditionally the karting, and it's a very kind of copy-paste formula versus I found in just my experiences talking with American drivers, it seems to be very, very different. Even when you go over there and you're kind of working with drivers that have been karting their entire lives, what is even that environment like? With, of course, you not having really as much track time trying to go and compete with these people. Are they like understanding of it? Or obviously they're probably just as competitive, but
yeah, I mean they're just as competitive. I mean, I don't really talk to a lot of drivers over in Europe, and when I was kind of starting off in the States, club racing, there were a lot of people that, one, had been doing Spec Miata for so long or did karting Spec Miata. They were pretty apprehensive, and they definitely made sure to stay away from me on track. They didn't know what I was capable of. They thought, like, you know, female behind the wheel, whatnot. So you definitely have to earn the respect, not growing up. It's kind of like going to elementary school to high school with all the same people. If you're new in high school, like, everyone's kind of just like,
one more height.
no.
Right.
So like all those people grew up karting to like cars and now to pro, like they all went through it together, so they're very familiar with each other, whereas like I just kind of got thrown into it. And that works for Europe and here. They kind of all have run with each other for so long, they all know each other at the movie.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
So, but everyone, I haven't really, since I've been pro, I haven't really had any issues or horror stories or anything like that. Like, everyone's been super nice over in Europe. They've been super nice and respectful here. Haven't had anything massive happen in either one. So
yeah, that's good. Obviously, this is a very, very, very competitive sport full of egos because you have to have that in order to be a race car driver.
Oh, yeah.
So it's obviously fantastic to hear that. It's still a welcoming environment.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, just to end off, if you had any piece of advice for someone who wants to get into motorsport as a driver or just wants to get into it as a career, what advice would you give them?
Yeah, I mean, for me, that's kind of one of the biggest questions I've been asked, and I always have a lot of people that come to me and they mention the whole age thing. Like, I've known people that are 26, 27 and want to get into racing, and they're just like, oh, I'm too old now. I started when I was 21. Like, you're really never too old. If you want it, you just keep working for it, and that's something that I learned from a young age. It's like, it doesn't really matter what's thrown at you. If you want it, you keep working for it. It's the same with showing horses as racing. If you want it bad enough, it's going to work out.
Fantastic. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.